All right, so we get asked this question quite a bit. What is our thought on David Storl's technique? And since he is one of the best gliders to ever walk the planet, I think it deserves a little bit of attention.
Now the young man of the shot put. Personal best in the qualifying, the personal best in the first round.
Big bomb.
That is again
So if we can think about, I do believe Storl's technique changed quite a bit since this throw. I think this is one of his better throws of his life. I think if you see how he moves today, he tends to have like a false right leg in the middle, and he's a little bit jumpy, and he's losing a little bit of tension, and I think that's been sort of like his technical, almost technical downfall currently. But this throw's really good. But I'm going to talk about what I would like to see changed. And keep in mind, if I want to see technique changed, that doesn't mean I think David Storl's this bad person. I don't think he's a bad human being. I think there's things I would coach slightly differently. But I still have used this throw as a guide for a technical model in the past. Just want to put that out there because throwers tend to think that if you have some technical disagreements, you think they're bad people. So let's watch it again.
personal best in the qualifying, the personal best in the first round.
And so this throw actually got him to beat my former teammate, Dylan Armstrong, right there. I trained with Dylan in 2007, 2008. But right here, right off the bat, I prefer that left leg to be a little bit more linear. I like, you can see his hips raise up here, and that creates a stretch shortening cycle. So a dynamic start. But when I coach throwers and gliders out of the back, especially because I'm dealing mainly with shorter people, Lucas Warning's only 6'1", I want that left leg to be a bit more linear, and he sort of crosses himself up. And one cue that we like to use is actually to not cross that right leg, or to just get it to that corner, or to get it to the center of the circle a little bit. But he does sort of correct it. You can see here he's on a pretty steep angle, and then his left glute med sort of reopens that over to the center. One thing in the middle, he lands flat-footed just a little bit, okay? Just a little flat-footed right there, right? But he immediately plantar flexes right there, and this knee gets a nice bend in it, okay? I like what he does with his left arm here, and I like when he's just about grounded with that left, I like where his left arm is located. I think that's a huge key. I've talked to Michelle Carter about this. I've heard her talk about this. I've been on phone calls where she's mentioned, what she does in the middle of the circle, and having that left arm as a key indicator for when her technique is on. And I think that goes a long way for gliders. And so if you see here, he's holding that shot, pretty traditionally under the ear, not under the throat as much. But as he opens this, I'd like maybe a little delay with a little higher left arm, but that's nitpicking. He's got a nice knee flexion here, good plantar flexion. I'd like to see a little more rotation from that right knee, but he does keep it grounded to this point right here, and you can see he's facing almost, his right hip is sort of facing this person out here in the sector, and I think he squares up on this pretty well. And then his left arm tucks in, and he sort of really plants into that flat left. And that's pretty difficult to do in the glide, but the longer you can hold that flat left in the glide, the better your reverse is going to be. And we always say there's 3 points of rotation in the reverse. There's that left arm, the right knee, and then on the finish, the right shoulder. And you can see here, he's chasing that out linearly, right? Like he's really getting out after it. And then he rotates at that last second. And when he rotates his right shoulder at that last second, that helps him get that right heel snug into the toe board. And that's one of the big things that I love about this throw is it's that right heel into the toe board with that high left leg facing the camera. That shows us a minimal amount of rotation on the throw. It's a linear movement. We want to keep it that way for the most part. If he rotated too much, you'd be seeing this left leg sort of flail around. So this is a great finish, monster throw. Won the world title, absolute animal. And I think even as he aged, He changed coaches. I think had he been back to this technique a little bit better, especially recently, I think he would still be throwing a little bit further. I think some of his movements today are not as crisp. This is a very, very good glide.